Hello everyone, I'm Irma Baker. Welcome to our show. It's so great to have you with us, and it's so great to have one of our favorite guests with us, and that is Mark Ludwig, a naturalist from the Medina County Park District. He's going to tell us all about winter activities. Hey, it's so great to have you with us, Mark.
It's good to be back.
You have a big lineup.
A big lineup, yeah. And I feel it's kind of weird because today I'm really not talking about like nature facts or topics. So I'm like talking about like some of our programs coming up. So completely like different than I usually talk about.
But I think that just represents how varied things are at the Park District.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a lot that we do, a lot going on in the parks. So before I forget, Medina County Parks.com is our website, so that is the place to find all of our information, the current news going on in the park and our programs. So rather than me like say dates, that's the place to go to because I usually mess up the dates or so it's just easier to go to the website and download our programs and events that are coming up. So.
And that's MedinaCountyParks.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an easy one to remember, but we'll make sure to put it back in later in the show too. But what fascinates me is I'm kind of a homebody.
Yeah.
Make it cold outside and I want to stay in.
Yeah.
But what you're going to tell us about are things that we can do in the parks even when the weather is bad.
Yep, I love the winter. Today I'm going to talk about actually 3 like main programs, but I love to hike in the winter. I think it's just a beautiful time of year to hike. I mean, yes, if it's we have snow, it can get slippery and stuff, but it's just a great time of year to hike. So whereas some people don't want to hike in the winter or be outside, but we do have a lot of outside activities during the winter. And that's the question that we always get as well as naturalists are like, what do you do in the winter? Do you still work? And we're like, yeah, it's, we're just as busy in the winter as, the other times of year. So we do have a lot going on.
Well, what kind of activities do you have coming up, for instance, that would involve children maybe?
Yep, so the first one that I'll talk about, and probably the easiest way is we'll start with a video. We'll show you on a program called the Yule Lads. And this is something that's been going on for a number of years. And I forget what year this is for us that we're doing it. But anyways, this is a walkthrough of showing you, like you'll hike along the trail, a certain trail. And this is pretty much all outside activity. And you'll see a series of these Yule Lads. And basically it's just kind of a, hike and go. And usually we have some activities associated with that you can do on the trail. We're still working out the details for this year. But basically and this is what my coworker Natalie wrote, and she actually came up with the idea. It's 13 mischief making Yule Lads on the move. Search for them as you hike along the paved trail in parts of the pine forest and wetland loops. You're actually following these green hats with yellow on the top. And it's kind of interesting because this particular program was at this time of year, the Icelandic children excitedly wait for the arrival of Father Christmas. Iceland's Father Christmas is a little different though. Instead of one visit, Icelandic children get visited by 13 different Yule Lads on the evenings leading up to Christmas. As with Santa Claus, it does matter whether you are naughty or nice. Nice children awake to find treats in their shoes, while naughty ones await with rotting potatoes in their shoes. So very interesting. But there's a series of different elves along the trail that you'll see, and we're kind of going through the slideshow of some of the elves that are Yule Lads that you'll see, which are similar to elves. There's different ones from, if I can pronounce these names right, Gollygawk. He steals foam from buckets of cow's milk. Spoon licker he licks spoons basically. Pot scraper or pot licker, he steals unwashed pots and licks them clean. So very interesting. Door slammer, he stomps around and slams doors, keeping everyone awake. There's a door sniffer is his name, he has a huge nose and and an appetite for stolen baked goods. So,
Well, these Yule lads sound like they definitely are mischievous little creatures.
Yeah. So they're basically mischief elves or Yule lads that cause trouble during the holidays. So it's kind of a fun program. Some people that have already been there, almost see it as like a tradition every year to come out and see this. But this year it's even better than ever, improved. We're actually incorporating the movie Elf with Will Ferrell. That inspiring ideas from the movie, we're kind of incorporating that into the Yule Lad walk that you'll do and the story that we're coming up with. So,
well, if people want to take their kids there, I suppose you don't have to be a kid. Just as long as you're a kid at heart.
It's for everybody. It's for adults. It's for kids of all ages. So it's just something different, something fun that a lot of other, as far as I know, a lot of other park districts don't offer this, this particular type of program. So,
well, I'm thinking a lot of parents with little kids or kids of any age. About how long does it take to walk through it?
It's probably, I would say, maybe a little over a half mile. I would say it's a shorter loop.
It is a loop. So
yeah, it is a loop. So you do. I know if you're familiar with our Owen Slaughter Nature Center. It goes kind of down a paved trail, and then it will go over the boardwalk this year. We have a boardwalk that goes over a wetland because one of the pictures you saw was of a narwhal, and that will actually be in the water this year. And yeah, there he is. So somehow we're going to place it in the water. We haven't thought that far ahead, but so we either need waders or probably like some kind of boat to put him in the water. The one cool thing that, and like I said, it'll be a story where I'm not sure if they're looking for Buddy Elf or exactly what the story is, but it'll be the movie Elf. Like I said, will be the inspiration will come from that movie along with the Yule Lads. So what's kind of cool is I'm working on a little QR codes that will go in front of like the narwhal and some of the other characters, and people can scan their phones, and even kids with the QR code. It'll take them to a video that I'm going to do, like different voices of the characters, not exactly the same as the movie, but it'll be the actual character and some kind of colorful background, and they'll like listen to the character talk. It's kind of similar to, I always, as a kid, like went to the zoo and got those zoo keys that you put in, and then you turn it, and the animal, it talks about themselves or whatever, lions or bears or whatever, they'll talk about the animal.
Well, we're talking about this ahead of time. Well, you're still working on it.
Still working on it.
So we're going to make this video available for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
When will the entire Yule Lads be ready?
Our kickoff is, we still have, what day is it today? We still have a little bit of time, but time's moving really fast. The kickoff is actually December 21st. We have a winter solstice event at our Owen Slaughter Nature Center, and
where is that nature center?
It's
where is
Sheridan
it?
Center, so right across from the golf course, down from the circle off of Route 94. So you can visit our website for more details on that. But yeah, it's. I think it's from, I don't have the times in here, but I think it's from like 1 to 4 or something. But yeah, check our website. But yeah, December 21st is the kickoff. And in that particular day, we're going to have all kinds of activities. I know we have music that day. We just hired a musician.
How long will it be open?
And then it's basically the Saturday, December 21st through January 5th. So it's all through the holidays. Like our building is 9 to 5 Tuesday through Saturday, and then 12 to 5 on Sunday, the hours of the building, but the grounds are open from sunset to or sunrise to sunset. So you can, even if our building is closed, like say for a Monday, if you wanted to go out, you can actually go out to this activity. So it's still open, but just the inside is not open, if you go on a Monday or something like that. But yeah, so December 21st through January 5th. And yeah, actually it's 6 a.m. I have the hours right here. I should have just read this. 6 a.m. to an hour past sunset is the outside grounds. And then, like I said, the building hours. So the building is closed the 24th and 25th and January 1st for the holiday. But other than that, you can come out with your family, and it should be fun. Like I said, right now we're still creating the idea, the exhibit, and the pictures that you saw. That is still kind of a work in progress of some of the characters that I know my coworkers are still painting. So I have no problem like painting the primer color, but when it gets into the detail, I'm out. I don't have the patience, when it comes to painting. So.
Well, sounds like a wonderful activity for bringing the family out, and it's nice that it can be when the park when the park buildings aren't open, but you can still be there. And sometimes during those holidays with the kids off from school, it's like, what do we do with them now?
What do we do? Yeah.
And that might be just the perfect thing to do.
Yeah.
But that is something that, like you said, from December 21st to January 5th.
Yeah.
Winter's a lot longer than that. I'll bet you have other things going on.
We do have other things going on. So one of the things that I did want to talk about, which I don't think I ever did on this particular program, is I do a series of hikes called Healthy Dose of Nature hikes. And basically you come out, and it is more of like a continuous hike. So we hike anywhere from 3 to 5 miles. And we do have people that have different paces. So I do usually have several volunteers with me. Some hikers are slower, some hikers are faster. I do have 2 hikers that come out with me usually that hike really fast, where I can't even keep up with them. I give them the map, the route to where we're going, and then sometimes we see them, sometimes we don't. So yeah, I have all different paces that come out. So, but it is more of a continuous hike, 3 to 5 miles. We will hike in the winter if it's like a snow emergency, where they're saying don't go out and anywhere because of the roads, or if there's lightning, we will either delay or cancel the program.
So the basic safety precautions are made in terms of really bad weather, stay home.
Yeah.
But for the rest of the time,
we hike.
We kind of tend to just seclude ourselves in our houses a lot. But the idea of going for a health hike and really, the parks are gorgeous in winter.
Absolutely. And really since the 2020 and even before that, there's just a healing power of nature, I call it, just to get outside. And there's something about nature that helps with, stress. It helps with everything going on in your life, just to get out. Even my days off, I go out and hike because, like national park or someplace like that, which I think is funny because, I'm actually doing this as a job, but there's just something just really healing about being outside, and that's really what this program is about, is just to get outside and just, enjoy life,
How difficult are the hikes? The trail itself that you're going to be on, how difficult is it?
I used to work at the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, and I used to work at Summit Metro Parks, and some of those trails were up and down, where a lot of the trails were difficult to hike. But I would say most of our trails are, pretty flat. There's a couple of parks like Allerdale that has, more hills and stairs, which is more challenging. But for the most part, our parks are flat, so there's not too much terrain.
Is there any information about, for people who want to look it up and say, oh, this hike I could do, but maybe that hike I can't?
Yeah, just go to our website, medinacountyparks.com, and it lists like everything there. And I also should say that next year it's going to be the first Saturday of every month. It's usually from 10 to 12 is the time in the morning, not at night. And then it's the third Thursday of each month that we have the hike. So first Saturday of the month, and then third Thursday, and that's from 10 to 12 as well. So I wanted to make it consistent. This year, even my Saturday hikes were sometimes, the second week, and it confused like everybody, a lot of my regulars. So it will be consistent. The other thing that I do is as a naturalist, of course, what we do is we take people on hikes, and and talk about nature. And I do the same thing with this particular program. However, it's just like a fast-paced, nature hike. So I will stop, usually once or twice, and I'll talk about, a particular, bird. Or I know one time in October I talked about spiders. September and August I think were more like butterflies. So I do talk about nature. And then I also read nature quotes as well. So as part of that, which people really like. When I first started doing this, I was like, are people going to like these quotes? And they're usually all nature related, the quotes that I read. But it just, people, actually the last hike that I had, they're like, can we get a copy of that? So I got to start making copies now of some of the quotes. But I'll read a couple of quotes for you just to give you an idea on what I read. So this one, John Muir is my favorite, probably author, that writes many quotes. And we are now in the mountains, and they are in us, kindling enthusiasm, making every nerve quiver, filling every pore and cell of us, which is awesome. Yeah. And the next one is I go to nature to be soothed and healed, and to have my senses put in order. That's John Burroughs.
I think that one, I'm just going to stop you there. I think that one would resonate with a lot of people because not only is winter hard on us physically,
Absolutely.
which these health hikes would help, but also it's kind of a mental issue too.
In actually the way that I describe it, I should have read my write-up in here. But the way I describe it is, yes, it helps you mentally and physically, just getting outside. So yeah, it's working on both, especially like in the winter, which they say like Ohio is what, like 90, I don't know, maybe exaggerating, a lot of cloudy days. So just getting outside, it helps mentally and physically. So great things are done by a series of small things brought together. That's Vincent van Gogh. And this is one of my favorite ones. When you do something noble and beautiful, I think I need reading glasses because I can't read this. Apparently, like on my phone too much or something, maybe. When you do something noble and beautiful and nobody noticed, do not be sad, for the sun every morning is a beautiful spectacle, and yet most of the audience still sleeps. That's John Lennon. So that's one of my favorite quotes, yeah.
That is a marvelous quote.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, I read quotes, talk about nature, and we hike, which is pretty cool.
Well, you're also going to talk a little bit about bird watching in winter.
So we, in addition to health hikes, and we do have our regular hikes too. I probably should say that we're not hiking 3 to 5 miles. We're maybe hiking maybe a half mile to a mile, where we're actually doing more interpretation, natural discoveries hikes, they're called. But we also do have bird hikes in the morning, well, they actually are in the mornings, but we do have them in winter, at least 2 bird hikes or bird walks in January and then February. And then we also have a program where you can come out to Owenslager Nature Center and actually sit in our bird room, and we'll talk about the birds that are coming to the feeder. So the program is actually come out there, watch birds. We have coffee and snacks that we're going to provide. It is, I probably should say, it is registration, so make sure you reserve a spot because we do have limited space. But we're encouraging to come out, 2 times a month to come out there, and we'll talk about the birds that are coming to the feeders. And I do have, I probably should have looked at the monitor. I do have footage of some of the birds that we'll see, and we'll just you never know. I mean, like some days are better than others. We may see like a lot of birds come to the feeders, and other days we might not see as many. This is a red-breasted nuthatch that just flew away there quickly. So those are birds that typically live their breeding season, the summer, up in Canada. So they actually come down here for the winter. So this is kind of like their winter home. And there he is again, the red-breasted nuthatch. So, which I just filmed this, so they seem a little bit early to me. Usually we see them maybe in December. But yeah, they maybe showed up maybe a week or so ago, and we're starting to see these. These are different than the white-breasted nuthatch, which is our resident bird, the common ones that we usually see. The other birds that you're seeing in here, of course, are the chickadees, which are resident birds. So those are year-round birds that stay here. And then I think a tufted titmouse shows up too. They kind of look like a miniature cardinal. There's the chickadee again.
Looks like that one was chasing away everybody else.
It's kind of funny because our feeders are empty. So there's another feeder, I don't know if you can see it in the background, and that's the reason why there's a lot of conflict going on between, there's the tufted titmouse, a lot of conflict going on between the birds. But then I was telling my coworkers, I'm like, if I go film now, then I'm not going to be able to record this great footage. So after I filmed this, then I went to fill the feeders. But the feeders were pretty much empty except for this feeder, and that's why they were all coming to this feeder. So. But yeah.
Well, what birds are most common to be seen in winter?
So yeah, the black-capped chickadee, which is one of my favorite birds, is the one that you're seeing mostly in this video. It is pretty common. You'll see the cardinals, the red cardinals, which are pretty common. The tufted titmouse is common, so they're a resident bird, so here year-round. And I do have, and we don't have this on the website, but I do have information that if you're interested, actually you can stop at our Owen Sliger Nature Center. We can hand you this brochure that I forget, one of my coworkers put this together, but it talks about the seed that you use, and I do recommend that you use black oiled sunflower seed, so in feeders above the ground. And then feeders on the ground, which is usually just a board, flat board. We recommend putting mixed seed down there. So a lot of birds feed at different levels. Like a lot of sparrows, for example, I think other than house sparrows, will feed mostly on the ground. The juncos that we see, which we call the snowbirds, some people call snowbirds, they're generally, most of their populations are up in Canada or north of us during the summer, and then the winter they come down here. And those are gray bird with white underneath. I should have brought more pictures, but but you can Google dark-eyed junco. But those birds feed almost exclusively on the ground. So the important thing is to put, if you want to attract a variety of birds, feed at different levels. So the sunflower seed, like I said, feeders above the ground, and then the mixed seed on the ground, and you'll attract different birds. Suet is great for woodpeckers, great for the nuthatches, the white-breasted nuthatch and the red-breasted nuthatch, and chickadees. And the thistle seed is expensive, and there's a certain feeder that you have to put it in, but the thistle seed attracts goldfinches and different finches as well. So, but providing those different types of seed and at different levels is important to attracting, like I said, the variety of birds.
Well, maybe next summer you could come back and bring us examples of the different bird feeders and explain all of that, because we go to the store and it's wild bird seed, it's local Ohio bird seed, whatever.
And there's so right now, at least the experience that I've had is the black oiled sunflower seed is not much more expensive than it seems like the mix now, which is kind of crazy to me because usually the mix was a lot cheaper. So definitely it is worth spending the money to get the black oiled sunflower. If that's all you're going to feed, even in putting it on the ground is fine. Just because the majority of birds, that's what they want. That's what they are going to feed on. A lot of the other mixed seed that you buy, a lot of the millet, and a lot of that is filler. It's almost like talking about human food. That a lot of birds will not even eat that. So if you put mixed seed in your feeders, a lot of times the birds are going to pick out the sunflower seeds and throw the rest on the ground. So you're just better off buying the black oiled sunflower seed. Pretty much every bird will be able to eat that, and either break it with their bills or they hammer it on the bark of a tree. But that's the best seed to get. So.
And you're saying that's healthy for the birds as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like a natural part of their their diet. So it's not feeding them junk food or anything like that. It's something natural that they would find. So,
Well, give us one more time the dates for the Yule Lads.
And I can talk about that. So the Saturday, December 21st is the kickoff at Owenslager Nature Center, and then it actually runs from that Saturday through January 5th. Like I said, the building and the times are, once again, because I don't think I said this right, at least the first time, we're open at 6 a.m. This is the grounds, not the building, to an hour past sunset, whatever sunset is now. And then the normal building hours are Tuesday through Saturday, 9 to 5, and then 12 to 5 on Sunday.
And the health walks, what's the schedule
So look
for
at
that?
our, go to our website once again for that, but it's always going to be the first Saturday of the month.
First
for next
Saturday
year.
of the
First
month.
Saturday at the month, 10 a.m. Well, we start at 10 a.m. I used to try earlier, but I can never get there in time. And then the third Thursday of the month. So, and we're going to be pretty much at all our parks. I think there's maybe one Medina Marsh, just because the trail is really short, that we're not going to be at, but we're going to get to all the parks, including the Holmesbrook Park, which is right down the street from here. So we'll be hiking that.
Well, thank you so much
yeah.
for being with us today. It's been great having you, as always, and
No,
we'll
thank
look
you.
forward to having you maybe in the summer with bird feeders.
Sounds good. Yeah.
And all of you, thank you so much for watching RSVP. For RSVP, I'm Irma Baker.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.